Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today on episode 97 of the Middle-Aged Outlaws podcast to celebrate the life and death, the 1001st death of a man, great man, who we barely knew. This man wore his heart on his sleeve and loved with his whole heart. Unfortunately, he was coldly cast aside by an incredibly attractive but insane woman who licks stones and people and goodness knows what else. That man, of course, Adam, is Mil Muertes, put to rest on episode 19 of season 1 of Lucha Underground. Thanks for being here with me, Adam.
Thank you. That was very emotional.
I can see that you're getting choked up, so I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start anything, but it's been quite a tumultuous few days.
Challenging week.
Yeah, it certainly has. Hopefully we'll see Mil back soon, given the 1,000 other times that he's came back, but you just never know. You never know. How's it going, Adam?
Oh, it's very, very averagely. You?
Very averagely. Not too bad. I think better than you. I've definitely not got a case of the Mondays, but you perhaps do.
It's just all work related, and if I could just find a way of, you mentioned case of the Mondays, like in Office Space, and I think there was a thing where they sacked somebody, and there was a glitch in the payroll system. They kept paying them. If they could do that with me,
that's what you're after.
Yeah, that's the dream, I think.
What about a baseball bat to the printer or the fax machine or something? Is that
I mean, that like I don't really deal with those things anymore. But you can't really take a baseball bat to people, can you? Well, maybe you could in the temple.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You're thinking of setting up your own offshoot, the Scottish Lucha Underground.
Yeah, maybe. And
it would be like a local gym.
Maybe just set the building on fire. Oh no, if that happens now, and I've just said it, they don't know who I am.
Yeah,
that's
you've
fine.
just said it. You're wearing a luchador mask, for goodness sake. Nobody knows who you are. We are, well, I'm only going to speak for myself here, but I hope I'm speaking for you. This is just the greatest television show of all time, Lucha Underground, right?
Fun. It's great. Like, I think I maybe wasn't prepared. We're dealing with something totally different, because we're used to dealing with things where you obviously want TV ratings, then you're kind of building to usually pay-per-view blow-offs. That's the usual. Whereas this, because there's no pay-per-views, it's all in these shows. You kind of you don't really know when all the big hits are coming, but it feels like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. It's a bit like Game of Thrones. You just don't know who's next, what could happen from any week to the next. It's a wonder to me that nobody's copied this format.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because they went out of business potentially, but apart from that, Tony Khan seems like he's got money to burn.
Yeah, they could do this. I mean, it feels like TNA tried to go down the exact opposite, but it's like weekly pay-per-views that they went for.
They're still going.
Unbelievable.
TNA will be there at the end of the apocalypse with the cockroaches.
I suppose it's had a few different guises and different names, and then back to TNA.
True.
Yeah.
Shall we go for it? Shall we talk through episodes 17 to 20?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay,
so we're going to kick off episode 17. We have Alberto with Dario in his office. Given recent events, Alberto is asking Dario for a match with Texano.
Nice.
Dario is saying, he's unsure about this. He's suggesting that it's maybe going to take a bit of time to put a match like this together, and he says that Famous B might be more appropriate for tonight. No. Alberto gets a bit heated. This is frustrating him and annoying him. Dario agrees to the match. Alberto against Texano on what he says will be a historic night.
What did you think about what we cut away from, Dario? He's looking at this little porcelain figure of a Red Bull. What did you?
Yeah, I mean, Dario's got some shit going on,
He
and
definitely has.
yeah, we've only scratched the surface, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna get to our first match. First match is going to be Mil Muertes against Fenix. So we've seen in recent weeks what's been going on, been a lot of issues with Catrina and Mil. Fenix has I don't know if it's right to say he has stolen Catrina. I think Catrina has maybe just kind of
She's stolen herself.
Yes, and taking Fenix along for the ride.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're going to have a Mil Muertes versus Fenix match. We have Fenix trying for a fast start in the match. Mil is not an easy guy to move around. He's a whole hunk of man.
Nice, absolutely.
Yeah. We've got Mil getting some control in the match. He hits a big DDT.
Yes.
And there's just some big clubbing blows by Mil. He looks like he's got things in hand to me. He's dominating this match when Catrina walks down the steps, stone in hand. Fenix is getting some momentum going at this point in the match, and they've both noticed that Catrina is there. Now, there was some sort of move. It was like Mil hits. It's like a backbreaker off the turnbuckle move. There was some craziness there.
But basically, Fenix sort of lands on the front of his neck.
Yeah.
If that's that'd be his throat, but
yeah,
it's like a code breaker from the second rope.
Yes.
So he essentially lands vertically upside down on Mil's knees. It's unbelievable. I thought it was a botch, and then they did it again. In the next match.
There's moments I have in my notes that I never really had when we were watching WWE stuff and TNA stuff and all that, which is, what the hell was that? Because I just don't know how to describe this move, but yeah, that was it. Mil hits a flatliner while staring at Catrina, and Mil gets the win. He summons Catrina to enter the ring. He wants her to, let's just forget everything these last couple of weeks and go back to doing your job, which is to come in the ring and lick the person that I've just beat in this match. She's not having it. She shakes her head. She's not doing it. He, pretty aggressively, drags her over the top of the ropes. Hands, I'm sure he's protecting her, but hands look like they're around her neck as this is going on. And she drops the stone in the ring, this stone that has been associated with Mil's power. Fenix strikes Mil Muertes with the stone, and he makes the save on Catrina. We've then got Catrina giving Mil Muertes a very long lick.
Yeah,
it seemed to start
he got the whole body lick.
Yeah, seemed to start a fair bit lower than the majority of them have so far. And then very, very passionately kissing Fenix after
here's a question for you. But would you kiss Catrina after she'd licked Mil Muertes up and down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like she probably wouldn't give you the option. If she's deciding that's what's happening, that's what's happening.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We all stand with Fenix. I didn't like Fenix, but they've definitely got him over with me now. All they need to do is put Catrina with them, apparently.
Definitely giving some additional layers here to Fenix.
Sure.
Going to have a video package next showing Konnan, the beating he took at the hands of Cage. And it's basically a whole promo video. We're going to have a few of these as we go, with Revenge is Coming being the theme. on the go here. I didn't take a whole lot of notes here. I'm trying to remember which one there was, because there's one where it looks like it's all set for full-on gang warfare, but I don't think that was quite
No,
here.
it kind of builds up. This one's
Yeah.
just him like getting very emo, stood in the rain and
Yes,
looking
that's
hurt
right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
We get little
Yeah.
flashes of like a new cane that looks like a really
Yes.
thick piece of metal or iron or something.
Yes. Yeah. Next, we've got, I got this right, Evilise wants to be the number one contender.
This is in Dario's office.
Yeah, Dario really isn't having it, but he says she will have a match with Angelico, and Son of Havoc will be the guest referee.
That's a booking. Well played, Dario.
Yes. Dario says to Havoc, I hope you can control your woman inside of the ring just as well as she controls you outside of it. Oh, cutting. Dario.
Do you know what I loved about this was she starts going, I'm the baddest bit, and he goes, I know, I got your texts, I got your emails.
That's good stuff.
He's brilliant.
We've got Prince Puma doing a bit of a workout, and he gets a pep talk from Alberto. Now, he's talking about what it takes to beat up Cage, but also he's giving him a little bit of a warning that, once he is done with Texano, he's going to be coming after this title. Yeah, watch yourself, Prince Puma. Into the next match, we have Big Ryck up against Sexy Star, and the winner of this match is going to get a 3-on-1 opportunity against the Crew. Now, This is where I think I differ from the majority of people in this, wrestling business, is that I'm not wanting to win that match.
Why does Sexy Star want to win this match?
I mean,
she does. She legitimately does want to win
it. Yeah, desperate to win it. Big Ryck is kind of inviting her to just take the loss, just lay down, but she wants to fight. She's not up for that. Sexy Star's hitting a couple of moves. Big Ryck kind of looks a wee bit shocked at what she's bringing, but it's telling the story all the way through. What isn't the longest match that he doesn't actually really want to hurt her. He wants to win the match so he can get his opportunity. So in the end, he lifts her up for what looks like it's going to be some kind of slam, but he just places her down on the mat, and he's then able to just hold her shoulders down. So it wasn't really an offensive move that took place. He's just making sure he gets the win so that he gets the matchup he's looking for.
Good guy, Rick.
We get the Crew coming down, and they are going for Big Ryck. Sexy Star's trying to help. It looks like they're trying to jam a stick into Rick's already damaged eye. They're holding him down, but Ryck is not having any of it. He is just fighting them all off.
What machine? They hit that 3D code breaker thing on Sexy Star. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I liked, I did like that he just held her down. Good guy, Rick. Did question during this match. Striker suggests that he's been swapping Snapchats with Pimpy during this. Vampiro's immediately questioning that.
We move away from this. We are going to go to a video package spotlighting Alberto El Patron, talking about his history in wrestling, just almost sort of giving a little bit of an origin story for the guy before he's going to go into his main event match here. So,
do you know what's good about that is that it was sort of, I felt like it was sort of a rehash of, he did the sit down style interview, and then he did his very first promo where it was quite American style promo that they did, but they stuck all that into like a 60-second thing. And if you were watching this for the first time, you're watching that match and you would be up to speed.
Yeah, you've got up on it. Yeah, it's good stuff. Thought it was well done. So we're going to get the Alberto against Texano match as the main event here, and I really enjoyed this. I've enjoyed a lot of the matches that we've had, especially sort of as you get to the main events and you know that you've got kind of established guy against established guy. But this felt different. It felt a different style of match from what we'd had before. It was more mat based, more sort of that style of wrestling. So I enjoyed the match. It stands out because it just feels a bit different.
It did, definitely did.
I like Alberto. There's a natural arrogance about him, not just in I think in the ring as well as the way he carries himself and speaks and things like that. I think he's got a natural arrogance in the ring, which plays into the character quite well, without necessarily making him a heel as such.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in this. I mean, they can both fly. They can both take bumps. We've got a superplex by Alberto. We've got a nice sort of spinning backbreaker move.
I tell you what,
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Come on. I give it a 9.9 out of 10 on the Crushometer. This one. It's very nice.
Quite a lot of back and forth. It feels like for a chunk of the match they're giving Alberto the better of it. But Texano is making his comebacks, hitting a sort of traditional style moves, like there's a spine buster in there. There's some just body slams and things like that. It kind of felt a bit old school.
I agree. I think this. I don't know if he's ever made the move into America or if this was it, but I think this Texano would do well.
Yeah.
Based on I think he wrestles really well.
Yeah.
And I think the way that these two they were selling the animosity, I felt. Through it was quite a stiff match. Some of the super kicks and some really stiff stuff going on, which was great to watch.
Yeah, it definitely came across as quite stiff, which I don't think there's any issue with as long as both guys are in on the way you're going to be working that.
100%.
We get Texano is going to use the bull rope, so he has been carrying that. We've seen him use it before when he attacked Alberto. But we're going to get a big power bomb by Alberto, getting a 2 for that. I think this is the point where Texano's trying to use the rope again, but Alberto catches him. And Alberto hits a spinning DDT off the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
It looks like Alberto has him beat, would have had the match won, but he just starts absolutely whipping the fuck out of him. They're telling this story here. I think the frustration has built, and Alberto's now just wanting to beat the hell out of him, as opposed to being worried about winning the match.
Yep. It was a really good match. I'd actually be interested to see if it got a rating. I wouldn't be surprised if it got quite a decent rating.
Good match. 2 good performers. It stood out, and it felt important, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's with these guys not having been here too long, but you felt like they'd carried a story, an existing story with them.
That's exactly what it feels like. An existing story just dropped right in. The fact that they've not interacted with other people, I think, goes in its favour, doesn't it?
Yeah. That was good stuff. After the match, we have Dario with King Cuerno saying that Johnny wants to fight him. It'll be in a cage match, and it'll be next week. Yeah. And had we heard King Cuerno speaking before?
No, it's the first time.
So we get King Cuerno speaking here, and he is talking about mounting Johnny's head on a stick.
Yeah, he's going to put it in Dario's office wall.
Yeah. Shit got real.
Real fast.
So that concludes episode 17 for us. Good episode. I thought, the main event match is very strong and we're moving some things along as we go.
Does it feel like, and it might just be because we're in this 4-episode cycle, but it feels like we're in a 4-episode cycle almost. You're getting like Pentagon, 1 episode every 2, 3, 4 episodes. I feel like they've got enough wrestlers now where we're not needing to see like what we were getting like Drago versus Cuerno every week earlier on. I feel like it's a nice wee groove now.
I think the thing that has hit me about the 4-episode cycle, which we talked about before, so you've just felt like we had what you would consider to be a main event match, because it was a big match, it was a good match, and then we know that there's going to be a cage match on the next show, and then the hits just kind of keep coming as these episodes go. So I'm still really. I think these 4 that we've just watched and the 4 before, I felt like we're really in this now.
Nice. Okay.
So moving on to episode 18. We get some reviews of some of the storylines that are on the go. Again, it's nice little reminders, because you've pointed out not everyone's on the show every week. They're moving stories along. So usually whatever you get at the start is a little highlight of the stories that are going to be progressing a bit in this episode. We're hearing we're getting Johnny and King Cuerno in a steel cage. First match up is going to be Pentagon Jr. against Argenis.
Did you see the young guy from Hot Tub Time Machine in the crowd?
I did. I've got it somewhere in my notes. Is it Clark Duke? Is that his name?
That's it, Clark, yep.
Yeah, I did see him, yeah. He looked like he was loving life.
He did.
This we've obviously had the story going on with Pentagon Jr. in the last few weeks where there's some sort of mentor or power that is he's trying to impress and give sacrifices for and things like that. It feels for me like name-wise he's going to be getting a bit of a bigger test in this match than what he's had the last couple of matches where it's been basically a squash, but obviously he has been breaking people's arms in recent matches.
Yep.
So early stages we've got Argenis really taking it to Pentagon Jr., but he gets control back. This is where I was, Clark Duke in the crowd.
Nice.
Pentagon getting control, hitting some hard chops. Striker and Vampiro are speaking, doing a little bit of chat about the fans actually seeming to support Pentagon Jr. despite his heelish could be seen as.
Oh, definitely. He's breaking people's arms.
He's breaking guys' arms, and sometimes, every time, long after they've quit. But yeah, I think Vampiro is very much of the opinion they like an aggressive style. They want to see fights. We've got
they showed Josh Barnett in the crowd, right? Now,
right.
Josh Barnett fought in the UFC. He's done a little bit of pro wrestling. He does what is the GCW thing where they take the ropes off and it's kind of like a blend of MMA but it's worked fights. Do you know what I'm talking about? Bloodsport, is it called?
I've heard of it. I've never seen anything from it.
He couldn't be master, could he? It would be random. Because
he doesn't use a Kimura, does he?
Possibly.
I suppose they all do if the opportunity strikes, but just thinking.
Vampiro was talking about loving Pentagon during this fight.
Yeah.
So if it is Vampiro, then he's decided to
just fuck it. I'm showing my hand now. Yeah.
I was keeping an ear on Striker, but he wasn't really saying much.
Okay, maybe he's just toning it down a bit though. Maybe he's just wanting to keep everyone guessing.
Vampiro does refer to Striker as the teacher or my teacher again during this match.
Yeah. Now, the teacher is fine because that was kind of his gimmick, but my teacher...
Wait, Striker had a teacher gimmick?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. You might have told me that about 4 weeks ago.
Did I only just find out recently? I think I did.
Maybe.
Now, this was the story. He
used to be. He was like an English teacher or something.
He was a legit teacher, and I think he called in sick one day, and then he was seen on TV.
Yes, that's totally On
then he
colour
wasn't a
for
teacher anymore.
striker. Wow.
Yeah, it's maybe when we were doing these that I actually looked up, because I remembered something about him being in WWE, of there being like a blackboard in the ring. And I thought, so they obviously leaned into it when he'd become a full-time wrestler.
Wow. Dean Douglas Jr.
But my teacher, that's still a wee bit, We've got a Pentagon flying over the ropes to Argenis on the floor. I like Pentagon Jr. He's good.
He's so good.
We've got a package pile driver, and then he is into the Kimura. We have a broken arm for Argenis.
Poor guy. He put up a decent fight. This was less squashy.
It was, definitely more of a match than what he'd been in before. Pentagon is telling his master that nobody can beat him, and he is ready. Yeah, this is good stuff. I like this.
He seems it. He definitely seems it.
I like this. I like what they've done with him, and I like.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's still obviously totally open in terms of where this could be going, but it's good fun. Where are we? We've got Phoenix and Catrina, and she is warning him that Mill will not stop. She tells Phoenix that he must bury Mill.
She's a sick woman. This is her fault that he'll never stop coming after Phoenix.
I think maybe this is just what she does.
She's like a total drama queen.
So after this, after she has got Phoenix to murder and bury Mill, she will maybe, somewhere down the line turn on Phoenix and need somebody to come in and get rid of him, because, that's just what she does.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah,
I can see her all over Son of Havoc.
We shouldn't criticize her just for being herself.
Okay. Sorry.
We've got
the Middle East Outlaws are tolerant of all lifestyles, including those who lick people.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's probably lower.
Are safe here.
It's probably lower on the scale than seeming to be telling him to murder Neil. But yeah, we've got the next Konnan video. I think this is like the sort of the one where it looks like he's recruiting some sort of army or something like that. They're really leaning into it, but I was quite enjoying it.
This was giving me the thought of, like, the Turtles. The original 90s Turtles live action movie where they've like the Foot Clan, the Shredder's got like a gazillion just random kids and all that. That's what I was getting for this.
Oh, nice. We're seeing there's somebody driving a car, and I didn't quite know what was going on for a minute until I thought they're giving us like a 15 minutes till the cage match warning, and it seems to be King Cuerno just rocking up to the arena. He's leaving
for some reason I just didn't see it. Does he come in with like a cowboy hat on and stuff? Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
Hey, I didn't see him coming in a car for some reason.
Yeah,
quite like it.
Next up, match-wise, we have Angelico against Ivelisse. So we've seen Angelico a few times now, and he seems to be quite liking Ivelisse. And obviously, poor Son of Havoc, who he's just in a bit of an unfortunate situation here. His partner, Ivelisse, is just berating him at every turn and humiliating him publicly and all that. So Son of Havoc's going to be the guest referee for this match. Let's see if he calls it right down the middle. Got Angelico is pretending he's going for like a test of strength thing, and then as Ivelisse reaches up, he kind of holds her hand and kisses it. She does not look impressed with this. She just wants to fight. She's, what does she say, the baddest bitch in the something
in the temple.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, she's getting some offense in. She can fly. She's got some aerial skills on the go. Son of Havoc for the early part of the match, just kind of staying out of the way, not really getting involved. Angelico charges towards the corner where Ivelisse is, but Havoc moves her out of the corner. I couldn't tell if it was one of the announcers, I think it's Striker, either didn't notice or was selling it. 'Cause it's like, and I think it Vampiro said, he pulled her out of the way, man.
Amazing.
And Angelico keeps pulling Ivelisse on top of him.
Yeah, I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Poor Son of Havoc, just
He
cucked
just
in
looked
public.
like he had absolutely no idea what to do in these situations. So he's trying to protect her from, offensive moves, but he's also just trying to lift her off.
Yeah,
Angelico.
please just stop doing that.
Ivelisse reverses a suplex attempt into a choke. Angelico looks like he just grabs her ass. There's a head kick by Angelico, who looks quite remorseful about having just done that. And he sets her up like he's going for a razor's edge move. But Son of Havoc pulls her down and makes the save. Ivelisse slaps Son of Havoc. Angelico tries to give Havoc a kick, but misses and hits Ivelisse. A very inappropriate cover by Angelico, and Havoc could not have counted the pin any quicker. It's an incredibly quick 1, 2, 3, and poor Son of Havoc. It's all his fault. Ivelisse is chewing him out again. She is absolutely furious with everything that's gone down here, and it's all his fault.
Poor Son of Havoc. The great thing about Son of Havoc here is that the crowd are totally chanting his name.
They are.
They're just like, we really sympathise with this guy.
He's quite good. Like, I think right at the start of this, we talked about how difficult it might be for people wearing masks to express emotion, but he's sort of got this hangdog look, and it does tell the story of, he's very much in a nothing I say or do is right moment, and it's everyone's feeling it for him. We have Mil and Catrina. Catrina is speaking about all things coming to an end and kind of messing with his head, I think. Poor Mil.
She's a sick woman. This was very reminiscent of the Hogan looking in the mirror thing. It was Ultimate Warrior that was speaking to him.
Yeah. She says Phoenix is going to put Mil in a coffin and close the lid, and he will just be a scared little boy again.
That's some deep stuff.
She says, death is coming for you. 1,000 of them.
Oof.
Oh.
Is this the first indication we get that there's a coffin match, that they're going to have a coffin match?
I think so. When she had been speaking to Phoenix before, she was talking about burying him, burying Mil as being the only way.
Okay, right.
So yeah, but I don't think it's ever actually been announced that match is going to happen. I think she's just planting all the seeds. She's manipulative.
She's playing chess. Yep.
We're going to get to our main event. We're going to have Johnny against King Cuerno in a cage match. I don't know what I really expected this to look like. Like when you knew there was going to be a cage match. Obviously, we've had through all the WWF iterations with the big blue, and then on to the sort of more mesh steel cages. So yeah, it's more the mesh style that we've got here, which is, I think, are better than the big blue bars, but they were iconic though. Those.
Oh, absolutely! I like that these basically rendered the ropes useless.
Mm-hmm.
There was something pretty good about that I liked.
Yeah, it made it different. Yeah, because it was right up against them, wasn't it? So you're not getting any spring off the ropes if you're coming off them. So we're basically talk through the rules. Pinfalls and submissions will count as will climbing over the top of the cage. So basic cage match rules. Some of the crowd are very much loving King Cuerno here. I just expect anytime Johnny is involved that they're going to be for him, but there's some King Cuerno fans on the go.
There's definitely something about Cuerno that lends your support, I think.
Mhm.
Cool character.
We're still in the story selling leg injury for Johnny and the fact he may not be 100%, but it's a fair point to make that he does have a habit of bringing it in these big matches when he's had them on the card.
Yeah.
Little bit of a sort of slow tentative start, but it makes sense. They're kind of trying to feel out the cage and figure out what they can actually do in there. We get quite a few sort of high spot moves. Got Johnny leaping out of the corner with a kick to the head. King Cuerno with a splash off the, like, he'd jumped, I think, to the middle of the top rope and then done a splash. Obviously, you've got the cage there to help you balance wise. We've got Cuerno classic, sort of grating Johnny's face against the mesh of the cage. They're sort of, the announcers are kind of telling the story about how they think it would maybe be escaping the cage would maybe be a little bit cowardly for King Cuerno, given he's been stalking Johnny the whole time. So leaning into the story that maybe he should desperately want a pin or a submission win. King Cuerno with double knees misses Johnny and goes straight into the cage.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was good. Johnny going for the escape. King Cuerno has his foot, it's not letting him get out. King Cuerno gets Johnny in a powerbomb position and puts his back into the side of the cage and then turns and more traditional powerbomb onto the mat. I like that.
Yeah, so brutal, this match.
Yeah, and do you know what? You could probably find loads of cage matches where they did more that looked brutal, but this felt brutal.
Aye. Like they're putting emphasis on what they're trying to do to each other,
Yes.
sort of thing, rather than just doing moves.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. King Cuerno is trying to escape this time, but Johnny catches him. King Cuerno is nearly out, but Johnny grabs his mask and pulls him up, and they're telling the story that Cuerno could have just let himself drop, but he didn't want to be unmasked.
Yeah.
They're telling the story of the honour of the mask in Lucha, and basically he wasn't going to allow himself to be unmasked in that situation. Nobody, I don't think at many points in the match anyone gets like a long-term advantage. It very much feels back and forth here. Got Johnny hitting a spear for a 2 count. They're both on the turnbuckle at the corner fighting up against the cage. Johnny knocks King Cuerno down to the mat. He's going to do a little bit of a sort of Jeff Hardy type situation here as Johnny. He's at the top. He can climb over and out, but he has second thoughts and he hits like a corkscrew moonsault.
Aye. I struggled to describe what it was that he did.
Yeah. Off the cage onto King Cuerno, which gets him the pin win. Johnny comes out on top, but again, I do feel like they have been making King Cuerno look very competitive with what is a top guy, which is good.
Aye, you would say they're equals, I think.
Yeah.
I really like Johnny Mundo's character. He would not have climbed out of there. He would have.
Yeah.
He would have done that. He would have not even in a flashy way, but in a to put him away.
Yes.
For those reasons, which I really like. Yeah, I feel like he really knows his character.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like always the same with John, different types, or if that's Johnny Mundo.
I get him. Like, I remember seeing some of his bits and pieces of runs he had in WWE, and I don't know that they ever let him fully be his character. I assume this is close to what he is. He's usually like he had a tag team run with The Miz, I remember, and I think they had quite a bit of success as a team. and I'm sure he had one earlier than that as well. I remember him and somebody else up against the Hardys a couple of times in tag matches. But yeah, I wasn't sure when I saw that he was clearly going to be one of the big stars in this environment, but it's worked. It's worked really well.
Definitely. You believe it, don't you?
Yeah. So yeah, that, I think, was the conclusion of episode 18.
Yep. It feels like we've just got stacks and stacks of rivalries that are getting sorted out these episodes, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'll jump into our next one. Number 19 is called Grave Consequences. Boy, oh boy, this was a banger. We start out with our best of 5 series between Drago and Aerostar. They've currently got a pinfall each, so it's 1-1. This was, I think, kind of feeling that same way again with Drago. It's kind of the same match. I genuinely really quite like Aerostar out of these. Is it unfair to say sort of generic looking luchadors?
Yeah. I know what you mean. There's maybe 2 or 3 that it is.
Arhennis and Aerostar. But I do quite like him, actually. He's got a bit of a Power Ranger look on the go. I've got here that he looks like if Goldust was a Power Ranger, which is maybe a bit unfair. The fans seem to love Drago, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
There were some crazy moves in this match, which you would expect right towards the end. Like, at one point, Aerostar has got Drago sitting on the turnbuckles, and he goes across to the not the opposite turnbuckles, but as if you would do the RVD thing, the Shane McMahon,
coast to coast
thing. But he just like sort of runs along the ropes and then does a Hurricane Rana.
That was nuts.
It's a bit weird. And I love his finishing move, which just seems to be a sort of flying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually hits it.
Yeah.
That's really good. So he gets the win. And that makes it 2-1 to Aerostar, I think.
Yeah. Did you think, so see at the end of their first 2, there's been a handshake and a sort of a show of respect. I was starting to think they're maybe having Drago getting a little bit pissed off. Now, he does shake his hand, but it was a little begrudgingly, I think, this time.
Which is good. Like, the storytelling in this show is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I zoned out a little bit a couple of times because I was very much listening to the commentary, because we've got Matt Stryker telling us some of the history of best of 5 series matches, and he's talking about Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff. I was remembering like Benoit and Booker T.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes as well.
And then there was also a moment in the commentary where Vampiro says something like, just a throwaway, he's not doing it as an impression, but he says everybody's got a price, and then Matt Stryker does a Ted DiBiase laugh after it.
Oh, I totally missed that. That's class.
Just like, ha 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 ha.
Amazing. During this match, I don't know if you remember or if you've got notes on it, but at one point Aerostar does it looks like he's going to do like an Asai moonsault, but he doesn't moonsault. He just sort of hangs in the air, like he's essentially in the position when you're doing a shite, and he just like does that to the floor.
Amazing.
Never seen that before. Nice. I guess they're going to go 2-2 and we'll get the number 5.
So. Yeah.
We get another one of these Konnan vignettes that you've spoke about. We've progressed. He's playing chess in a park. Very Art of War type conversation that's going on. It turns out that he's actually teaching Prince Puma chess, but he's obviously relating it to the way that you move with a big powerful enemy.
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. And he's got this new cane with him as well. We keep getting Konnan Revenge is Coming as the graphic that comes up at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we're actually going somewhere with the army, or if it's supposed to be symbolic. I'm sure we can talk about that a bit further on when we...
Yeah, I wasn't sure myself, because obviously we'll get there where we're certainly talking about one individual, but I wasn't sure if this is going to be the start of maybe he's known to have a legit reputation for bringing a lot of guys to companies, and it would kind of make sense if he was forming a group of his own here.
Yeah, and I think they've described him as having his ear at the streets in Mexico. What's the streets saying? And all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
We get our next big grudge match, which is a no DQ 3-on-1 elimination match. The Crew versus Big Ryck. Finally gets what he's been after since they burned his cigar in his eye and double crossed him. So I liked that it was an elimination match. You don't really get like a handicap elimination match, but it works perfectly for the three small guys versus the one giant guy dynamic.
It's easier to tell because, especially with what we've seen from these guys in the Crew, none of them are going to stay down for all that long. So yeah, it made sense for this to be exactly that type of match. And I had something in my notes about one of the announcers saying something like, and I must have misheard this. They said something like, it's just like a Saturday night in Wigan. And I was like,
yes, it's Vampiro that says it.
What? Wigan?
Who knows? Vampiro's been everywhere.
I suppose.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. Do you know what I love about this whole dynamic? This giant guy, he would normally be the heel, I think.
Yeah.
The big hulking beast of a man, the three little guys. Well, I don't know. I think Big Ryck would normally be a heel, and he plays a baby face quite well.
How do you, when somebody's that big and that powerful, how do you get sort of sympathy on them? But the story has allowed that to happen, which is good.
And they do this good thing with the Crew where they're all the same size, they're all pretty small, and they do this sort of zombie swarm type thing, and just take them down. And like if we had 3 Chad Gables taking on Big Show would just be hoying them about the shop, and it would just be silly.
Yeah.
Here we've got 3 believably, or 3 guys believably taking down this small guy with their little manoeuvres and their.
I really like their team moves. Like
that thing where they run into the corner and they're just smash one after the other. That's great.
Lots of their team moves are really good. Actually, they're sort of it's like harking back to the old days of like Heart Foundation and teams like that. It's great.
Unfortunately for Bale, he's first to be eliminated. He's probably the least established of the 3. He's the newer comer. He gets chokeslammed by Ryck. Ryck hits both guys with a double suplex at one point, which is great. Striker says something weird there. He goes, if you're accustomed to watching wrestling, I think you'll know what was going to happen there. I'm just like, what? That's a weird thing to say. At some point, a kendo stick and a bunch of other things gets introduced, but Cortez Castro ends up getting eliminated when Ryck picks up the kendo stick and sort of uses it almost like a, what do you call it when, if you've got a broken finger and you put
splint.
A splint. He sort of uses a splint on his arm and just a huge clothesline to Cortez Castro and eliminates him, which leaves Mr. Cisco, who is the one that burnt the eye out, isn't he?
Yep.
So a de facto leader after Big Ryck was gone. He's hightails up the stairs, but guess who's at the top of the stairs? Sexy Star, and she knocks him all the way back down the ring. And Ryck is very appreciative of this. He's giving her a big smile. I maybe wasn't far off when I said about the pair of them making out.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see it.
No.
Cisco is back in the ring after Sexy Star taking him back down. He gets hit with a huge right hand from Ryck, which busts him right open. And then he puts the cherry on the top. Big Ryck brings a chair and sets it up and just Uranagi's Mr. Cisco right through the chair.
There was something about the way Mr. Cisco's arm went. That I thought, I don't know if it was supposed to do that. Like,
Oh,
'cause
really?
it hits the top part of the chair, like the back part, and then obviously it's nowhere to go other than down. And I was like, that didn't look great.
Bit ragdolled.
Yeah.
The way the chair bent just looked
Yeah.
it was good. It was a good finish.
Yeah.
Really interested to see where they take Big Ryck from here.
Yeah.
I think the crew will just continue to be diabolical.
I think so.
Little cheeky little bastards, but I'd be interested to see where Big Ryck goes. Hopefully not on a cruise with Sexy Star. We've got breaking news now, but I'm not sure who breaks the news, but maybe you do. They break the news that the AAA Mega Championship will be on the line next week, and Cage versus Prince Puma in a Boyle Heights street fight.
Yeah, I think it's the announcers that are telling the story, because they're saying Dario Cueto has written a check to get the AAA title defended on Lucha Underground.
I see. Yeah. And we'll also get the Lucha Underground title on the line as well.
Yeah.
I was sort of waiting for that cage match, not cage match, but the match with Cage. And Prince Puma.
We've seen bits of Puma because he's been in, some of the interactions that have been going on, but we haven't seen anything of Cage these episodes. Zero. But I don't mind it because it's coming. Yeah.
He'd be getting oiled.
Yeah. And, we've talked before, we don't need him talking, so it's not like we want to see vignettes or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay. Our main event of this episode, and probably for me the highlight of what we've seen so far through all these episodes, is a grave consequences match between Fenix with Catrina in his corner and Mil Muertes. It's a coffin match.
Yeah.
They start proceedings by having a Day of the Dead style parade round the ring with people on stilts and the whole shebang with the makeup.
All the sugar skull stuff on the go. That was creepy.
Absolutely brilliant. And they leave all the flowers and all that round the ring. It just gives it a totally different feel and a different look, which is great. We get Meals in first and Phoenix coming down to the ring with Catrina, and Meal for all of this match is intense. His intensity is on like 5,000. He jump starts it, dives out the ring. We've never seen him do that.
No, I don't. Did you hear them announce Phoenix as the man with 1,000 lives?
Yes, I did. Poor Meal. He's
taking everything from him. Everything.
Yeah. Something I got a right good laugh at is Vampiro starting a sentence with being in vampire cults for most of my life. And then
it's talking about it messes you up or something like that.
And I was like I get his name's Vampiro, but I never thought that he thinks he's a vampire. Really odd.
Gotta live the gimmick, man.
Fair enough. This match was amazing and crazy and brutal in all the right ways that some wrestling really struggles to understand, I feel.
Yeah.
And like hard, every match that we've had non-DQ matches, but we've not had anything like this. This was a grudge match where both guys hate each other, and Meal just literally wanted to kill Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
And they're telling the story as it goes of Phoenix having gone darker since aligning with Catrina, and this is going to be where he needs to go to get through this match and all that. There's some good stuff with the coffin. Like, I think we're maybe a bit jaded with seeing casket matches in WWE. I don't think, I think with The Undertaker being gone, they probably won't happen again, not for a long time anyway, but it seemed like they were quite frequent and often a bit panto-ish.
Will he shut it? His hat, he gets his hand out. This
didn't feel like that. This felt different.
Nobody tried to get the other one in it until such time as they thought that they were out.
I did like the moment where there's a Fenix is leaping from the ring, and Meal just lifts up the
Oh,
coffin.
he smashes into it.
He does.
There's nowhere for him to go. It's a bit cartoonish almost that he's like running and a wall comes out of nowhere sort of thing.
Oh.
It's just at this point that the Meal just starts ripping at Phoenix's mask.
Mm-hmm.
Again, something we've never seen. We've had lots of, obviously, luchadors and masked wrestlers. Nobody's tried to do anything like that, and I would guess that that's seen as ridiculously disrespectful.
Mm-hmm. He's like torn a hole in the forehead area, hasn't he? And he's like exposed it, and I think he's bleeding and all that. Yeah.
This is he pulls apart the mask, then he pulls apart the bottom turnbuckle to get the screw from the turnbuckle and just start smashing him in the face with it. This was not enough because he then starts biting the wound that he's opened up on his face. Jeez.
Vampiro is loving this. This is his favourite thing right here.
Amazing. They start to fight up the stairs, and basically, I think Meal is taking him up onto Dario's office to throw him off. Mm-hmm. But Phoenix manages to get, or to at least stop him. Yeah. Despite being dripping with blood and all that sort of stuff, they sort of fight through the crowd quite a lot. There's some really hard-looking wooden chairs getting picked up by Meal and just smashed over the top of Phoenix. They're fighting through people. Yeah. Like genuinely fighting through people, and like Meal's like pushing people out the way and all that.
Yeah, we're so used to when their fight goes into the crowd, you can tell there's always security creating a gap.
Aye.
It did not seem like there were security creating a gap for these guys.
It's amazing. Phoenix manages to get a little bit of offense back. He does a couple of moves where he manages to push Meal off, and he does a moonsault out of the crowd to the outside of the ring. He does a wee senton as well. Meal, when I was watching it with my son, and he was like agog, like his mouth was like, oh, what is this? I said to him, Catrina's looking like she's awfully close to the action, and I think the announcers say it as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And Meal takes her head off with a clothesline.
Yeah. Did you notice there's a moment where Meal power bombs Phoenix on the announce table, and there's no like moving stuff. Like, I get why they've done it over the years, because somebody could hurt themselves, landing on some of this equipment. But usually you get the desk cleared before it happens. Mm-hmm. Not here.
Yeah, and there was like things screwed to it and all that. And he just And the other thing is, it didn't move. It didn't look like a gimmick table. It didn't move. And I think it heightens impact. It makes it look soda, I think.
Yeah.
So after Meal hits Catrina, it gives Phoenix a little bit of space to get some offense in. He hits a kick onto Meal, who is sort of hanging between the second and top rope. Catrina at this point opens the coffin. Phoenix jumps off the ropes and hits a really brutal looking 2-footed stomp onto the back of Meal.
Yeah.
Who lands in the coffin. Catrina grabs his stone, gives it a lick, launches it in the stone and slams the lid.
Yeah.
Is it? I didn't actually look to see how long this lasted, but it was like breathless. It was hard to look away. It's amazing.
It was really good. Definitely up there with my favourite matches we've seen. That was, and so different. It didn't feel like anything you've seen before.
Nah.
Great.
The setting with they've got flowers stuck to their back. It's just, I don't know, just totally different. Catrina follows the procession, the Day of the Dead, skulled people come out to roll away the coffin, and she follows it. Do you think she is legitimately with Phoenix, or do you think that she is trying to teach Meal a lesson?
I'd been thinking that all along, but if that is the case, that she's not really with him, but if that is the case, they've really pushed it to its extremes now.
Yeah. Well, I hope Neil comes back, and I'm sure he will. Because he's up there, one of my favourites on here.
I'm kind of hoping they keep him off for a bit to make it seem impactful what's happened.
Yeah. Whew. So that takes us to our final episode of this little chunk, and that is episode 20, The Art of War. And we kick off with Angelico versus Son of Havoc, and I was like, oh, for goodness, they're pushing this a wee bit.
It's okay, though.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah. Totally. And it shows you just to have a little bit of faith in this TV show. So Ivelisse is out with Son of Havoc. The fans are going mental for Son of Havoc.
They are. I've got that in my notes. Just, it's amazing how over he has got with the crowd by just being berated, just non-stop for weeks. And there's sort of two sides, because the slightly frustrating side is he hasn't really shown anything, like any backbone through any of this at all. But then I guess you do just feel bad for him in the end.
It's kind of like the Daniel Bryan thing, isn't it? Like of like beating him down, and then everybody gets behind him. Yeah. This is his best performance, I think. He looks like he's changed something.
Yeah.
He's hitting all sorts, two-footed curb stomp. But Ivelisse is like standing shaking her head at everything he's doing.
And screaming non-stop.
Vampiro says something about her screaming, I think, doesn't he?
He's like, I'm not sure if it's worth it.
He's really got the better Angelico this full match. Basically, at one point he goes to do... Angelico's got him in like a razor's edge type situation, and he manages to get out of it and hit a Hurricane Rana. Really impressive. As it looks like he's got Angelico beat, he grabs the mic and they're saying, "Stay on him, what you doing?" And he says to Ivelisse that she's holding him back, and he dumps her ass. And the crowd go absolutely bonkers for it.
Yep, they've been waiting for it, they've been wanting it, and he's delivered.
He hits a shooting star press and pins Angelico. Ivelisse is raging. And she hits Angelico with a kick, just for good measure.
Yeah, so... And Angelico is immediately making a play for her.
Yeah.
She's just been publicly dumped. She didn't seem to appreciate that. I like the Havoc blowing her a kiss goodbye as he left after he'd got the win as well.
What a guy.
There was a moment, it was early on in this match, where Angelico leaps over basically the turnbuckle of the corner of the ring onto Havoc, who's I think right next to the announce table, and the hang time Angelico got on the leap was absolutely ridiculous.
Amazing. He's clearly really athletic.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like he's got much personality about him. But,
good for stories like this. It's finally paid off, you feel like.
Aye, definitely. Really quite a feel-good story, that whole thing. Interested to see what they do with Son of Havoc.
Yeah.
We got Dadio's office. We see it from the point of view of whoever it is that he's talking to. He's talking about this person that Konnan said some really good things about him. He says, "I know that you've previously been in tag teams," but is he saying he's probably going to be like a singles contender? And the camera pans, and it's Hernandez.
I lost my shit. I was like adding Hernandez to this. Oh yes,
it's just perfect.
Yeah,
that's what Dario says. He says you won't have a tag team partner holding you back here. And I thought, I did actually think, is this going to be Homicide?
Okay.
And it was, couldn't it be better? Just big, jacked. I don't know. It's like Ricochet mixed with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he was so good in some of that TNA stuff we watched.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I believe that he is going to be sat ringside for the Prince Puma and Cage match tonight. He's looking very Vin Diesel, isn't he? With his big, big cross and his bald head and all that.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I was going to ask you this match, this episode, if there was someone that you could pick from like any of the things that we've watched, who, is there someone that you would pick that you think would do well in the tempo, or that you could fantasy book to join, who would you pick?
I tell you,
He would probably be on the list. Like
he would be on the list. Yeah. Maybe need a little bit of thought about that one, but he would definitely be on the list.
That's fine. Let's revisit it at the end.
Okay.
I thought Kurt Angle would be.
Yeah, it was the very first name that sprung to my mind. But like, it would work so well, but it never would have happened. But it would work so well. Yeah.
Okay, let's go into our next. This is just. I feel these episodes are just like match after match, which are. I think we went for a little bit where it felt like it was like sort of movie vignettes after vignettes, and this has went back to the ring, and we've had really good matches.
I think it felt like in the early stages there were two they weren't throwaway matches, but it wasn't established yet who the characters were and all that. Whereas now it seems like there's often one of those matches, but two big hitter matches on each show.
Everyone, we're kind of getting to Vince Russo, and everybody's got a storyline, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a bull rope match for the AAA Mega Championship. Didn't know it was called the AAA Mega Championship, but
me neither.
Melissa Santos told us so. It is Alberto El Patron versus Texano. And this, I wasn't actually 100% sure that I knew what a bull rope match was, but it's a simple sort of strap match with the old bull rope and the big cowbell in the middle.
Yeah.
This was pretty good. This was a good match. I question whether it was as good as their last one.
I think I preferred their previous one, but it's pretty good. You know, in a way you're limiting when you add something like a bull rope. In a sense, you're going to limit the type of match it's going to be, but there's still some good stuff in this.
Yeah. I think we probably got a lot of the same stuff. Obviously, you've got the wrinkle, the getting smashed in the head by the cowbell.
Yeah.
That sort of being stuck in the middle there. I think there was times they came down on it and possibly didn't mean to. It's just the way that it landed, and that big thick rope as well didn't look much fun to get hit with and scraped with and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's not for me, that.
No. Alberto El Patron, I think you touched on this when you were talking. I feel like he can do everything.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he can technically wrestle and mat work. He does dives through the ropes, hurricane ranas. He hits Texano with a reverse superplex.
Yes.
That is, it doesn't sound like much, but the sort of pace that it was hit at just looked devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. That was good.
I like this vicious streak that Texano's got. I said it before, but I think he would have really, really worked in an American setup.
It definitely won over Vampiro. He's basically praising him and pulling for him all the way through the match, but when Striker calls him on it, he's outright denying it.
Yeah, because them two were sort of beefing, weren't they? When they had the interview.
Yeah.
Two sort of alpha males.
Mm-hmm.
Finish here comes from... Oh, the finish quite interesting. So we have Texano getting a table, and Alberto sort of fights his way out of getting put through that. Eventually, Texano gets a top rope power bomb of Alberto through the table, gets a really, really close to 2.9, as close as you can get, and the finish sort of comes out of nowhere, where Alberto manages to get almost in a tarantula style maneuver that Tajiri used to do, but he gets his finishing armbar. He grabs Texano's arm over the ropes, and because we're a bull rope match, there's no rope break.
No rope break.
Liked all that sort of stuff. That was really good. I think Texano taps out.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite surprised that they did two in a row. Well, they didn't. I was going to say two in a row with El Patron winning, but we didn't because he got DQ'd, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah. I preferred the previous match, but I liked the finish. I thought they executed that well.
Same. And it works, obviously. You know, it wouldn't have worked in any other setting.
Yeah.
So I really good. Do you think both these guys will stick around?
So obviously we've had this sort of threat by Alberto that he will be coming for
With
the
Puma.
Lucha Underground title.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, given they are AAA guys, I wonder if it's obviously going to be mutually beneficial. They've put a spotlight on the two guys in this show, which, I think AAA is huge, isn't it? It's a big this would be considered a far smaller show than that, but
Yeah.
I do think it's probably mutually beneficial to do a bit. And I think with the way they do this, he wouldn't have to be on all the time. Either of them, they could just show up and do a couple of shows, probably with a few weeks in between. So I'm hoping we do get to see them again, because I think they both would bring something to it if they were focused on other
separate
things.
Yeah, I have more. I think we're more likely to see Texano, given that Alberto El Patron retained the title. I think we're more likely to see Texano. But they did make a really big thing, Alberto El Patron being in the temple and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully, I think AAA owned Lucha Underground. I think it's like an offshoot type deal. So we'll see. We have Prince Puma warming up in the back with Konnan, and Big Hernandez comes by to pal it up with Konnan. My spidey sense was tingling here, and so was Prince Puma's. He was I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
It felt very fishy.
Yeah, exact same for me. I was expecting a swerve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Hernandez says to Prince Puma he's a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't give any sort of "I'll become for the belt" or anything like that.
No, there's none of that. And he's obviously Konnan's guy. I think it's still they've left it. It's just there. It's lingering, and you don't know. But I'd be kind of more surprised if something doesn't happen at some point with that.
Yeah, same, definitely. Okay, we got our Boyle Heights street fight as our main event for the sparkling, beautiful new Lucha Underground.
Yeah, you're not ripping this one in half. That's
I was when he brought it out the first time, I was a bit like, but I just thought, well, it's a smaller promotion and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I assume it was all storyline based for Cage to rip it, because that belt is absolutely gorgeous. One of the most beautiful belts I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice. Yeah.
So Dario brings that out, and he's looking very proud of himself.
Oh, he is.
I love that he just appears at his office every now and again. Ring the bell! And we're off. Cage versus Prince Puma. We really liked this. Is this our third match or just our second?
I think is it the second proper match? Because did he have a match with him when he wrecked him the first time, or did he just jump him from behind? Yeah, I think it's because then he had to win against him in a 1-on-1 to get the title match.
Yeah, we got the towel throw. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Again, like, this is a really good match. Both guys are amazing. Continue to be blown away by Prince Puma. We get a bit of extra action with the whole street fight aspect of it. We get a trash can lid being used, not to the point where it's like, here comes the fire extinguisher and everything else.
I was cringing a little bit when I saw the trash can lid, because it's my least favourite of all the gimmicks. They basically just fold in half when you hit somebody with them. But yeah, it's used a bit more sparingly here.
Yeah. Cage continuing to show his power moves. He stops a Hurricane Rana halfway through and just hammers Puma into the ring post on the outside. We get some cool wee bits with there's a steel chair introduced. We get Puma doing the RVD bit where he throws it, and Cage catches it. He hits him with a kick. Cage pulls out a move. He's got Puma on his shoulders like he's going to do an F5. He throws him up in the air and lands him on his knees.
Yes.
As he hits lands on his back. It's like a backstabber sort of thing, but it's like he's hitting it from a much higher height.
It looked brutal to me. There's some of the fans are chanting for Cage here.
Oh, it's like a dual chant on the go, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and it, I suppose it is a different environment, and I don't think we're as straightforward as good guy, bad guy here, because obviously there's the Konnan influence, which could be seen as a bit, manipulative, and Cage has maybe gone a bit too far at times, but yeah, some of the crowd are for him, absolutely for him.
I just think, well, you've seen what we've had with Penta, and also King Cuerno, and people easily get people behind them when they just look cool.
I think they're latching on to something about them, a character, a trait, a personality, or just their ability to do cool looking stuff in the ring. Yeah.
Cage has got a cool factor in that he looks like he's enjoying himself beating people up, I think.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
We get this unbelievable angle of a shooting star splash by Puma. He runs up, jumps on the top rope and dives to the outside, but it's from a really low angle, so you basically get him coming right down you. It's amazing. What have we got here? A slingshot 630 by Puma to the outside through the table.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
So I think when both men are down, the camera goes to show Hernandez, and I'm just waiting. This was the moment that I thought is happening here. I thought, why are they showing him? But this is inevitable. But
Hernandez looks amazing. I don't remember him like I don't know. He looks like a star, I think, is what I mean.
Yeah, maybe had a little bit of a glow up. But yeah, and still just looks though like he can wreck absolutely anyone he wants.
100%. We care. This is what I was talking about with Cage. He puts the steel chair around Puma's head and just runs him into the ring pole.
Yeah.
Then launches Konnan into the barricades. He's just like bouncing his head off it like a basketball. You see it bending.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We get, what is it that Puma does? Is it a 630 or a 720 or?
Yeah, it's at least a 630, I think.
He goes for that, eventually missing. We get Cage nearly taking Puma's head off with a discus clothesline. He hits, this is my only problem with this match. He hits the Weapon X, which we've seen him, that seems to be his finishing move. He then goes for a bit of ground and pound. Then hits double power bombs, finishing on the trash can.
Yeah.
He's definitely got the title won.
Yep.
Definitely got the title won. But instead of doing anything about that, he starts shouting at Hernandez.
Yeah. But who hasn't got involved?
Nah.
He's there, he's a presence. You know his relationship with Konnan, so it's probably a bit unsettling. But yeah, get the win and then go after him.
But it doesn't feel like that contrived. It doesn't feel that out of character for Cage. Like, there's somebody else for me to beat up. Yes, I'm going to have him too. So Hernandez sort of locks eyes with Konnan, and starts to make his way towards the ring. Konnan climbs in behind Cage into the ring and nails him with his new fancy cane, allowing Puma to, I think he hits his 720, 630, 9,000 degree spin, splash, and manages to somehow pull it out the bag.
Yeah.
And Cage has only got himself to blame that he's not the new Lucha Underground champion.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I think these two guys' styles match really well. I think we know what Puma is going to do. Agility, speed, ridiculous moves, really good selling, all that. Cage is going to wreck folk. He's going to knock your head off. I think they just mesh really well together for me. I was thinking, where I assume they're probably going to go to something with Hernandez and Cage, which I do think can still work, even though it's two big, strong guys. I think the way that both of them can move, I think it'll still work.
Aye. Just like two giant pinballs flying at each other, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And just to see where they go with the title, I think Johnny Mundo probably deserves a title on him.
Yeah.
But they're probably not going to go back to Mundo and Puma.
Yeah. I suppose there's a few ways it could go. You've now got Big Ryck back and lurking, but not really. He's more a babyface now. I don't think that would deter them because they've already had Puma and Johnny Mundo having their program. Yeah, I think there's a few different options of ways it could go.
Well, I think I know where some of it's going.
Okay.
We've got. I'll tell you the names of the next 4 episodes that we've got. And by the way, we thought that there was 31 episodes, but there's 39. So we've still plenty of season 1 to go, which is awesome. Delighted. I think normally I'm in a rush to get to the end of the journey. To see so what's next, but nah, not at all.
Yeah.
So episode 21 is called Uno Dos Tres.
Okay.
I think that they're going in a trios championship tournament, possibly. Okay. Maybe no, but I think that is where it's going. Episode 22 is called Mask versus Mask.
Oh,
don't know who that might be. Who do you think that might be?
Well, I'm trying to think who's in a rivalry where both are wearing masks.
The only mask-related sort of stuff that we've had so far is the Phoenix stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that it's
that. But they wouldn't go with Drago and Aerostar when they're not at the end of their series yet.
No.
No, not sure.
Episode 23 is called Fire in the Cosmos.
Oh?
Don't know. Well, episode 24 is called Trios Champions.
Okay. Okay, so we're definitely getting some trios stuff on the go.
Yeah, how do you feel about a trios belt? You talked about potentially not introducing many more.
Mm-hmm.
Just a title.
There isn't. So I don't think we're at the stage yet of feeling like there's too many championships. Let's see how it goes. I mean, when you think of natural trios, you think of the Crew.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure who else. Like, if there's another natural 3, I suppose they had Sexy Star, Pimpinella, and beyond that, I think you're having to sort of manufacture probably trios. But we'll see how it goes. I think because I've enjoyed so much of what I've seen, I'm kind of giving it all the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely learning that way, especially with the Havoc stuff, where I've just thought, especially that last episode, I thought, I forgot, I've had enough of Havoc and Helico and all that, but it just worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, we'll get back.
That for you? Was that our best 4 episodes?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. There was something at stake in every. More than one thing at stake in every episode. Mm-hmm. I suppose that's to do with building up storytelling.
I think the 4 before were very good, and then this one just kind of cleared that bar. I thought,
that coffin match is quite unlike anything I've seen in a long time. Really, really good.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, we'll see what they've got to bring for us.
I'm again at this stage in the journey. This is rare, but I am looking forward to it.
Nice. I know we normally, those cycles you see of like bring in the new manager. New manager's amazing. That's what we're normally like. Hey, start new journey. Oh my god, this is amazing. Repetitive match happens. Oh, this sucks. Can we just get past this to get to the next thing?
Those messages between us, like, do we continue or do we just?
It's so funny because I just didn't see you. I've never watched this far or anything. I think I'd maybe watched something like the first 5 episodes or something.
Okay.
I just thought the flippy dippy stuff would just be too much. But there is so much storytelling that it's fine.
Yeah, and a lot of the things I feared early on. We've had different match types. We've had more mat-based stuff, and we've had gimmick matches, but different feeling gimmick matches. And we have had those, shows of personality and emotion, even for some of the masked performers, which is difficult to do, but some of them are succeeding in doing it. So yeah, no, I'm happy.
Amazing. And just revisiting that question I asked you, I know you've not had much time to think, but say I could give you a star from the past and a star from current. Who would you bring to the temple?
So we'll exclude Kurt Angle because I think that was a brilliant shout. That just would have been so good.
Too obvious.
Yeah. Oh God, I'd love the idea of somebody. Obviously, it's also not going to happen here, but somebody like a Benoit, and
oh dear.
and I was also thinking of
just because of the sort of brutal way that he wrestled.
Oh yeah. And I was also thinking, and bear with me here, right? Because it would obviously be different. It would look different. But if you took like prime Shawn Michaels from when he was an arrogant prick heel, and you put him in here as I was trying to think, would it be too similar to Johnny Mundo, who isn't a heel as such, but the same sort of, but I think he would do it differently. I think he would do I'm slumming it, I'm better than all of you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think some of the matches he could have would be really good.
Nice.
So that's I suppose that's the more historic one.
Current?
For current. Oh. Why is every current wrestler currently like escaping me right now?
Pentagon.
Oh God, imagine dropping somebody like a Jacob Fatu in there.
There you go. That's amazing. Yes. That would work nicely.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's a good one. I was thinking Papa Shango would work pretty well in the temple.
Wow.
Imagine, with all the, like the smoking thing that you carried and all that sort of stuff.
Vampiro would be all over that shit.
Oh, I would, yeah. And I quite like the idea of Braun Breaker just sort of tearing about, smashing people.
Nice.
Getting into some matches. I think I was thinking Chad Gable as well, but it's very similar to the Angle stuff. Yeah. And he's like, seems to be doing stuff with Luchador, storyline and all that sort of stuff, so maybe that's why I was thinking
true.
that.
Yeah.
But just somebody huge like a Roman Reigns, that just doesn't work, does it? It just still feels a bit polished and
kind of nobody wants to see that because it doesn't fit. It just doesn't seem right. Whereas, like when you think of a Kurt Angle, it maybe doesn't fit, but in a good way.
Aye. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Aye. Well, Will Ospreay would be quite good in amongst all that sort of stuff.
Never really seen his work. Yeah, I hear a lot of good things, but I've never really seen anything, I don't think.
He used to be quite lean and very flippy dippy, and then he put on a lot of beef, and he just completely changes the way he looks in a good way. But even Drew McIntyre going about the tempo would be quite interesting. He'd be too big though. He'd make some of the guys look so small.
Aye, unless he was going up against a Big Ryck or something like that, it'd probably look a bit daft. But I suppose he did have his leaving WWE and rebuilding himself. But I'm assuming there was no stop off at the temple at any point there.
I think he did. He must have done just about everywhere else. But
yeah.
Oh well. Well, we'll speak again in 2 weeks. I'll let you go and catch the last hour and a half of Raw since it's shown live
it's in
right
Europe,
now.
Isn't it?
It's in Brussels.
It's in Europe this week. Yeah.
I think Cena may be on it live.
I get these little TalkSport alerts that pop up on my laptop. And
reporting on WWE.
Well, there was one popped up just about 10 minutes ago saying John Cena drops stunning heel promo, and I was like, oh, right, okay,
yes.
I might have to check this out.
I wonder what he says.
sometimes TalkSport get a wee bit carried away, you know. But yeah, I probably will try and seek that out.
Somebody dropped a stunning heel promo on Ange Postecoglou yesterday. I saw as he was walking off the pitch.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, Ange, what's going on? You're no bet." He's like, "Come on, mate, behave yourself, mate."
There's I'm a bit sad about it all. It's clearly coming to an end in front of my eyes, but yeah, it's one of those things. I just wanted it to work. It just
It's
hasn't.
not going to, is it? You're also doing a cycle with the Spurs manager cycle now as well, aren't you? So who's next?
I was seeing, like, I was looking at some journalists' comments, basically saying, look, if he doesn't win the Europa League, which is hard to see because it's just hard to see them playing consistently well enough in 2 games to get through the next round. But saying, like, the names that are linked with it, even if the right names are in the frame, I have no faith in the ownership to appoint the right guy. It's not there. So
and then buy the players to support that guy.
Yeah, I mean, did they, when they sacked Pochettino and then they decided Mourinho was the man, so they went from attacking manager to defensive manager, and we're like, here's all your players, by the way, just
none of them can defend.
So yeah,
could be Barry Ferguson. He could be.
I mean, he'll probably have a big buyout clause in his Rangers deal, I would think.
As long as you can get him a column in the Daily Record for when it's finished, he'll be happy.
If they turn it round and win the Europa, or I suppose it's not going to be the league, is it? But if they won the Europa, then they'd have absolutely no choice.
Oh dear, didn't he? It's like the monkey paws curling.
Well, I was going to say it did really well yesterday, but half of yesterday did really well, and then stuck in enough, you know.
Yeah. Dear. Well, right, that's enough football talk. Let's go and reconvene in 2 weeks' time for more Lucha action. Anybody out there that's missing meal, we are too. We are too. Goodbye, Adam.
Goodbye.